Hello every pony, Corpulent Brony here. Following the release of Twilight's Kingdom, the best and most epic episode of My Little Pony to date in my corpulent opinion, I noticed a good deal of controversy erupted surrounding Tirek and magic. A lot was posited by others in the fandom about his abilities, and I thought I'd join in on the conversation by expanding on this topic, which I only briefly glanced over in my analysis of the episode, in hopes of clarifying some of these issues. I'll begin our discussion today by looking at the changes to our understanding of the complex relationship between ponies and magic brought about by this episode. Thence, I will review the history of Tirek in G4 and how he came to escape. Finally, I will attempt to answer the three most common questions I've heard asked, which to me seem to have relatively obvious answers. What was Tirek doing in the time between his escape and finally popping up on the nighttime princess radar? Why would the princesses have agreed to such a foolhardy plan and trust everything to Twilight? And finally, how could the magic of 4 alicorn ponies, wielded by the most inexperienced of alicorns, have defeated a monster who devoured hundreds of other ponies' magic, in addition to the Lord of Chaos? First, an overview of the changes brought about to our understanding of ponies and magic. This episode cemented into show canon that ponies of every race are imbued with magic, not just unicorn and alicorn ponies. This has been hinted at previously in the show, and Lauren Faust has posted comments explicitly stating Pegasus ponies have involuntary magic, and that Earth ponies hold a magically ingrained connection to the Earth. But this episode realizes these ideas and accretes the episodic canon with them, making it undeniable that Earth, Pegasus, Unicorn, and Alicorn ponies all possess the magics. Furthermore, this episode demonstrates that cutie marks are directly tied to a pony's magic, and if a pony loses their magic, they also lose their cutie mark. Thus, Equestria is a realm of magic, populated not only by enchanted equines, but also by other magical creatures. Dragons have magic, which is seen whenever Spike is acting as the royal delivery service. Cockatrices wield the power to turn any pony into stone, and even the visiting breezies possess a magic that is activated by the breeze. These are just some of the non-pony magical denizens we've encountered thus far. Now we arrive at the main subject of my dissertation today, to wit, that magic-thieving demonic centaur we all love to hate, Tirek. What we know about him and his history is a bit ambiguous. We know he arrived with his brother Scorpan to Equestria from a distant land. My headcanon likes to think they arrived through a portal that connects to a different universe, much like the one seen in It Ain't Easy Being Breezies, or the Magic Mirror and Equestria Girls. In fact, at times I stretch this canon even further into the danger zone of fiction territory, and wonder if perhaps the two brothers came from our universe, and entering into this ponydom of magic, they find themselves transmogrified into the monstrous creatures they appear as in the show, much as Twilight is transformed into a monstrous pastel-colored horsewoman in Equestria Girls when she steps through that portal. This makes a lot of sense in my head, at least in the context of a children's cartoon about pastel-colored talking ponies. Okay, that's enough of that headcanon tangent. Let us maintain our independent variable as unknown and continue along the original curve, shall we? Regardless of how they arrived in Equestria, the two best brothers were intent on stealing pony magic. Hey wait, this gives me an idea for a new show. Two best brothers steal pony magic. Scorpan, realizing how freaking awesome ponies were, and becoming a hardcore Celestia-worshipping brony almost immediately upon watching just a few episodes, realized he couldn't partake in such a dastardly deed, and thwarted his evil brother's twisted plans by tattling on him to the sun and moon goddesses, thus dooming Tirek to endless imprisonment in the depths of Tartarus, while his loving and loyal broham skipped away home to steal the incarcerated's one true love. Okay, or so every pony thought. Some hapless pony must have destructed Cerberus, apparently the only guard in Tartarus, and the absence of the three-headed mutt left the door wide open for Tirek's escape. Once Cerberus was reinstalled by our favorite purple polkatudinous Poindexter pony, Princess Twiley, in It's About Time, we must only assume no pony thought to check on the state of the prisoners to ensure there were no escapees, thus making Tirek's escape unknown until he began publicly pilfering pony magic. I now arrive at the first of 3 questions this analysis hopes to answer. Where was Tirek in all the time between his escape and the events of this episode? As I attempt to tackle this question, I must begin by asking another of my own. How much time has elapsed since his liberation. In Pinkie Pride, as the eponymous pink party-planning pony plots her next bash, Rainbow Dash insists the upcoming festivities must be epic! Because it is not only her birthday, but also the anniversary of when she moved to Ponyville. Both AJ and Rarity are shown looking surprised, meaning this must have been the first birth-anniversary RD has celebrated with the whole main six. The inevitable realization one must draw from this is that the events of the entire series up until Pinkie Pride take place in less than a year's time. So to answer my query, I will derive an estimation of the timeline involved. This is a tough nut to crack without a more thorough analysis of equestrian time, a nut which I intend to fracture at some point in a future analysis in order to savor its nutty texture. But for now, I will attempt to use a simplified method that is full of assumptions, just as most scientists do. If we assume all episodes happen in a single day, they don't, but I'm trying to keep this simple, and that each episode is evenly spaced from the next, that is, an episode occurs every T days, then I should be able to get a very rough idea of the time that has elapsed from T-Rex breakout. Let us attempt just such a numerary feat, shall we? Pinkie Pride is the 77th episode of the series. To make the timeline as realistic as possible, let's assume Rainbow Dash moved into Ponyville, say a week before first meeting Twilight in episode 1. This would come out to 358 days elapsing between the series premiere and Rainbow's birth anniversary, assuming Equestria also has a calendar year consisting of 365 days. When 358 is divided by 77, we obtain 5, meaning 5 days elapsed between episodes on average under these assumptions. It's About Time was the 46th episode, meaning 31 episodes have elapsed since Cerberus abandoned his post, which equates to approximately 155 days. So, according to our standard measurement of time in our universe, this would be just about 5 calendar months. So, is that really so long ago? Let us now return to the original question. What was Tirek doing in these estimated 5 months of freedom? And exactly how many panty raids did he execute? I would propose he was slowly gathering strength. I'm sure he went through many travails in his incarceration and escape, and may have had to build up his strength by spending a lot of time on his knees, sucking the dregs of magic from who knows what. A stray breezy, a sea pony, an abandoned male foal left by one of Kroopster's wives to appease the White Whiniers, or any other small magical animal so he could slowly gain enough strength to tackle full-sized ponies, full of that juicy, melt-in-your-mouth magic. In fact, the first pony we see the Chupa Mahia rob on screen is a unicorn pony who is alone in a dark alley and is lazily using his magic to carry his tips earned from working in the Stallion Strip Club earlier in the evening. From prior episodes, we've seen that when a unicorn pony is using their magic, it often takes a moment for them to just switch over to another spell. This pause would provide ample opportunity in which Tirek could launch his attack, so he chose his victim well here. The self-defense moral of the scene: always be aware of your surroundings, and don't venture down dark back alleys at night. If you have to venture down such an alley, never go alone, and make damn sure it's empty and the prostitute's pimp isn't hiding behind that dumpster, ready to rob you as soon as your pants are down at your knees. Nothing could be more embarrassing, trust me. Magic make Tirek grow stronger. After sucking enough unicorn horns dry of their sticky and gooey magic, Tirek loses his discriminating taste and proceeds to absorb yet more MP from casting Osmos on Pegasus and even Earth ponies, apparently in the vicinity of Appaloosa and Canterlot. Knowing they are the next entree on Tirek's vacuum menu, our powerful pony princesses convene and decide to transfer their magical essences to the new Bialicorn, the former bearer of the element of magic and best pony, Princess Twilight Sparkle. The next question now arises: why take such a drastic step? Celestia realizes that Tirek will be powerful enough to overcome the Princess Conclave, even if they work in tandem. This makes sense to me, as 3 or 4 ponies focusing their magic will not be as effective as a single pony, focusing the same amount of power. Not that the plan was to have Twilight take on Tirek in a no-holds-barred cage match, but rather their true motivation seems to be to buy time due to the fact Tirek may not be aware that Twilight even exists. This does seem flimsy, and if you are still in the camp of doubters, think about this. If you were staring the end of your existence in the face, would you selfishly clutch onto the most important things you have, or would you give these things up to someone you care for and who will be able to carry them on into the future, or maybe even use them to save you? Viewed in this light, the desperate decisions made by the bevy of princesses begin to make sense. And after all, Twilight has thus far been able to successfully overcome all obstacles hoisted upon her by the princess. One cannot blame her for hoping this winning streak continues. After draining a bunch of ponies and desiring to sow his oats with bigger fish, Tirek decides it's time to go after the big fat alicorn magic sitting up in Canterlot Castle. Upon arriving and finding his leeches have been drained, he notices the telltale stained glass window showing the ascension of Twiley to alicornhood, and he realizes there's another pony that may possess the magic he so craves. So, our untrustworthy villains arrive in Ponyville, where the morning shimmers and Tirek unceremoniously consumes the magic of the main five. Though he may put up a brave front, it's obvious to me at this point Discord is being affected by seeing his friends lose their magic. Tirek, sensing Discord is not as committed to the cause as he should be, decides now is the time to drain his chaotic magic and take him out of the picture. As Twilight and Tirek begin their epic duel, we arrive at our last exciting question. How can Twilight, who possesses only the magic of 4 alicorn ponies, be a match for Tirek, who has apparently acquired the magical essence from at least hundreds of ponies, including the Lord of Chaos? A valid question, young Padawan, and one which I will attempt to explain by making 3 key observations. Observation the first. Much of the magic Tirek initially imbibed likely went to making him physically and magically strong, allowing him to grow from the puny thing he was previously to his current massive size and power level. The magic that was used for this simply is not available to Tirek for use against Twilight. Observation the second. Tirek is likely very inexperienced in wielding this amount and type of magic. In every scene up until the attempted draining of the princesses, it is shown that the only magic Tirek uses is his trademark consumption spell. He never has to restrain his victims, either physically or magically. Thus, the magic he uses in these confrontations is negligible, meaning he's lacking the experience in casting offensive spells. Observation the third. Theoretically, one could also say that Twilight is also inexperienced, especially since it was shown in the time leading up to the battle that she was trying to get a better grasp of her new magic level. But as the element of magic, she has an innate talent in this area. After Tirek destroys Golden Oaks and all of her precious books, Twilight's anger is kindled and her instincts kick in, allowing her to be in full control of the massive amount of magic now flowing through her, thus making the two opponents magically equivalent. So followed the most epic pony battle to date, ending in an impasse. Tirek trots out Twiley's friends, and Twilight makes the only decision the soon-to-be Princess of Friendship could possibly make. She gives up all of the alicorn magic in Equestria for her friends, thus making Tirek the most powerful magical creature in all of ponydom and a truly unstoppable force. Or is he? Can the force of the dark side stand against the power of the main 6 color spectrum friendship magic? The answer, in brief, is no. This multi-hued amity magic, wielded by our 6 extra colorful heroines, is able to extract the purloined pony magic from Tirek and redistribute it across the land more efficiently than a progressive spending proposal. Now, where were we? Yes. I think that's about it. I've shown the changes realized in the world of pony magic from this episode, along with a brief history of Tirek and G4. I've attempted to answer the 3 most frequently asked questions I've seen concerning this episode by showing that Tirek was only on the lam for 5 months, during which time he most likely was accumulating strength. That the plan to give Twilight all the Alicorn magic makes some sense when viewed from within the desperate window every pony found themselves. And I presented 3 explanations that work together to explain how Twilight may have been able to draw to a stalemate with Tirek. Please keep in mind, the answers I proposed are not definitive, and I am always open to alternatives that are well-founded in the actual show canon. If you feel like I missed anything, or have some other questions you'd like me to attempt to answer, please let me know in the comments below. If you just enjoyed this video, please also let me know that. See you later, every brony.
Is it the best episode of MLP? No. Ooh, that is going to give you indigestion. That's about it. What did you think?